Hash the card on the counter. The morning light filtered through the tall windows of the penthouse kitchen, casting golden streaks across the marble countertops. Sarah stood at the island, a cup of tea growing cold in her hands. She stared at the yellow envelope propped against the sugar bowl, her name written across it in careful, slightly shaky handwriting. The apartment was silent. It was always silent now. Sarah Henderson had built an empire from nothing. At 38, she was the CEO of Henderson Technologies, a company that employed over 5,000 people. Her face had graced the covers of business magazines. Her keynote speeches drew crowds of thousands. But here, in this beautiful, empty space high above the city, she was just a woman standing alone in her kitchen on her birthday. She hadn't planned to be alone today. Or any day, really. Somewhere along the way, between board meetings and quarterly reports, between late nights at the office and early morning conference calls, her life had narrowed to a single track. Work had filled every corner, leaving no room for anything else. Mrs. Chen had been her housekeeper and part-time nanny for the past 6 months, ever since Sarah had taken in her nephew, Tommy, when her sister passed away. Tommy was 7 now, a quiet boy with his mother's gentle smile. Sarah had tried to be there for him, but the demands of running a company were relentless. Mrs. Chen had become the steady presence in Tommy's life, the one who made his breakfast, helped with homework, and tucked him in at night. Yesterday, Mrs. Chen had given notice. Her daughter in California needed help with a new baby. She would be leaving at the end of the week. Sarah had nodded professionally, thanked her for her service, and immediately begun searching for a replacement. It wasn't until this morning, when she'd found the card, that the reality had truly settled in. Mrs. Chen was leaving, and Sarah hadn't even realized how much that mattered. She set down her tea and reached for the envelope. Her fingers trembled slightly as she opened it. Inside was a simple birthday card with flowers on the front. The message inside was written in that same careful handwriting. Dear Sarah, happy birthday. I hope this day brings you some joy. Asterisk. I wanted to write this before I left because there are things I need to say. I hope you won't mind an old woman's honesty. Asterisk. You have been a good employer. Always fair, always respectful. But I worry about you, dear. And I worry about Tommy. Asterisk. Last week, Tommy asked me if you were sad. He said you never smile anymore. He said he wishes he could make you happy, but he doesn't know how. Asterisk. It broke my heart, Sarah. Not because you're doing anything wrong, but because I can see how hard you're trying to do everything right. You're trying to be strong for him, to provide for him, to make sure he has every opportunity. But what he needs most is you. Not your success, not your money, just you. Asterisk. I know something about loneliness, dear. After my husband passed, I buried myself in work too. I thought if I stayed busy enough, the emptiness wouldn't catch up with me. But it did, and when I finally stopped running, I realized I'd missed so much. My children had grown, time had passed, and I couldn't get it back. Asterisk. You're still young, Sarah. You have time, but time moves faster than we think. Asterisk. Today is your birthday, and I'm guessing you'll spend it the same way you spend most days. Working, checking emails, taking calls, and Tommy will be in his room, wishing he knew how to reach you. Asterisk. Here's my birthday wish for you. Close the laptop today. Turn off your phone. Take Tommy to the park. Make pancakes together. Let him see you laugh. Let him see you be human, not perfect. Asterisk. You don't have to be perfect, Sarah. You just have to be present. Asterisk. With love and respect, Mrs. Chen. Asterisk P.S. Tommy made you a birthday card too. It's under his pillow. He was too shy to give it to you. Asterisk. Sarah's vision blurred. She blinked, and tears fell onto the card, smudging the ink slightly. Her hand came up to cover her mouth as a sob escaped, then another. She stood there in her perfect kitchen, in her perfect apartment, and let herself cry for the first time in months. How long had it been since she'd really looked at Tommy? Really talked to him, not just asked about homework and bedtime? When had she last heard him laugh? When had she last laughed herself? The realization hit her like a physical blow. She'd been so focused on providing for Tommy, on being responsible, on not failing him the way she felt she'd failed her sister by not being there when she got sick. She'd worked herself to exhaustion trying to give him security, stability, a future. But she'd forgotten to give him what he needed most. Her. Sarah set down the card and walked through the quiet apartment to Tommy's room. The door was slightly ajar. She pushed it open gently. The room was tidy, his bed made, his books arranged neatly on the shelf. She crossed to the bed and lifted the pillow. Underneath was a piece of construction paper folded in half. On the front, in crayon, Tommy had drawn 2 stick figures. One tall, one small. They were holding hands. Above them, he'd written in his careful second-grade printing, "Happy birthday, Aunt Sarah. I love you." Inside, there was more. "Dear Aunt Sarah, I hope you like your birthday. I made you this card. Mrs. Chen helped me with some words. I wish I could make you happy because I think you are sad a lot. Maybe we could play a game sometime. Or you could read me a story. I miss Mom, but I'm glad I have you. Asterisk. Love, Tommy." Sarah sank onto the edge of the bed, clutching the card to her chest. All this time, she'd thought she was protecting him by working hard, by building security, by being strong and capable and in control. But what he'd needed was simple. So simple she'd missed it entirely. He just wanted her to be there. She heard a sound in the doorway and looked up. Tommy stood there in his pajamas, his dark hair messy from sleep, his eyes wide with surprise. Aunt Sarah, are you okay? She opened her arms, and he came to her without hesitation. She held him close, feeling how much he'd grown, breathing in the scent of his shampoo, memorizing the weight of him against her. I'm okay, buddy, she whispered. I'm sorry I've been so busy. It's okay, he said. You have important work. No, she said, pulling back to look at him. You're what's important. I forgot that for a while, but I won't forget again. His face lit up with a smile that looked so much like her sister's it made her heart ache. Really, really. In fact, I'm taking today off. It's my birthday, and I want to spend it with you. What should we do? Tommy's eyes went wide with excitement. Anything, anything. Can we make pancakes? And go to the park? And maybe you could teach me how to ride my bike without training wheels. Sarah laughed, a real laugh that felt rusty and wonderful. Yes to all of it. But first, I need to make a phone call. She walked to her home office, Tommy trailing behind her. She opened her laptop and typed a quick email to her executive assistant. Taking the day off. Cancel everything. We'll be back Monday. Emergency use only. Asterisk. Then she closed the laptop and powered down her phone. She turned to Tommy and held out her hand. Come on, let's start with those pancakes. As they walked together to the kitchen, Sarah felt something shift inside her. The silence of the apartment no longer felt heavy. Tommy chattered about his week, about school, about the book he was reading. She listened, really listened, and felt pieces of herself she'd thought were lost beginning to stir again. The yellow card still sat on the counter. Sarah glanced at it as she pulled out the pancake mix, and silently thanked Mrs. Chen for the greatest birthday gift she'd ever received. The gift of seeing what truly mattered. The gift of knowing it wasn't too late. The gift of a chance to begin again. Outside, the city rushed on, relentless and demanding. But inside the penthouse apartment, a woman and a boy made pancakes together, and the sound of their laughter filled the spaces that had been empty for far too long.